Hello, I'm the Bunny Man.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror. And we are doing a terror talk.
It's been a long time.
And if you don't know what a terror talk is, it is a open conversation that we have with each other.
Yes, just about random topics.
And little things that we've have interest in from the horror community that we've seen. So
today's topic is going to be summer horror films.
Yeah, so we looked at some trailers. So instead of going through each and every trailer, you sort of want to just go over sort of which ones we sort of like look like they're going to be good for the upcoming month or so. And
some of these have already come out to theaters, and some have yet to make their way to theaters, but we're just going to give a brief synopsis of each and, see if we think they may be a good choice or not. You guys don't have to take our opinion for it. We definitely encourage you to do your own research and see if you think you might be interested in these films yourself. And the first film came out on June the 1st of 2018, and it is called Upgrade. This film was actually originally going to be called STEM.
Okay.
I think Upgrade is probably a better title.
A catchier title.
So, the synopsis of the film is set in the near future. Technology controls nearly all aspects of life, but when Gray, a self-identified technophobe, has his world turned upside down, his only hope for revenge is an experimental computer chip implanted called STEM. What did you think about this film trailer?
It looks interesting as an action film, but not as a horror film. It says it's supposed to be horror. There's nothing, any part of it that to me comes as horror, unless at some point the AI or whatever rebels or
right.
But I mean, it's not like there's nothing in it that's like, oh, it's going to turn very dark very quickly.
Yeah, it's listed as an action horror sci-fi film, and it's definitely full of action according to how it looks as far as the trailer was concerned. There was a lot of fighting in it, and I see the sci-fi aspect. I mean, this gentleman was basically paralyzed, and they install this chip into, I don't know if it's his brain or the base of his spine or whatever. So they install this chip. The basic premise is it's interactive. He can talk.
It's like a Google.
It's like an AI situation.
Yeah, it's like a Google Play AI situation. I mean, it pretty much says it in the synopsis, and like the trailer, if you ever watched it, it gives a pretty good. I'm just saying, I don't see the horror aspect of it.
Right, and it's one of those very loosely horror. I mean, we haven't seen the film, so I can't say, but
there is nothing of.
It seems pretty suspenseful because I'm guessing this gentleman's family was murdered, and he goes after the people that hurt his family. So
yeah, but I mean, again, are we playing the horror genre as a catch-all now again, or what's going on?
That's where I have an issue with it. But
okay, let's move on.
We're not the ones that do the categories, so overall, it is one of those films that seems like...
If you're into an action film mood, I think...
It may be interesting because it has a lot going on with it.
Yeah, let's move on.
It does have a lot going on, so I could give it that. Hereditary, it comes out June 8th, so it's already out on theaters. It's rated R. It's listed as a drama horror mystery. And it's after the family monarch passes away, a grieving family is haunted by tragic and disturbing occurrences and begin to unravel dark secrets. This one did seem more like a horror type thriller film because there is that ghostly type menacing aspect to it.
And somebody that was involved with The Witch also did it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm thinking he's going to sort of play off that type of line, is more of the suspense of like The Witch. There's going to be more dialogue than action. So I wouldn't go to theaters to see it because we went to go see the theaters to see The Witch. Mm-hmm. And we were literally the only people in the theater at that time. And I could not understand half of it, not because of these and thous and the old language, is because the stereo system was not set up for audio. It was set up for action. Right. So it had that, the bass was way up compared to the tenor and all that other stuff. So it was very hard to understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
And it lost a lot of the effect, the suspense. For one, I'm interested in watching this film when
it seems like it may be good. It actually was awarded 10 nominations for different.
Well, I don't look at nominations for anything. I mean, you could have a nominated film that's complete crap. So.
This film has quite a few very well-known actors and actresses in it, too. It has Alex Wolff, Gabriel Byrne, and Toni Collette in it. So quite a few very well-known actors and actresses are in this film. So.
Yeah, again, it's just one of those things I don't really care about as long as they can betray the role. You know, like the role and do a
Toni
good job.
Collette is one of my favorite actresses. I mean, she's a really good actress.
You know, the one actor that they're missing is Peter Stormare in this movie. You know, and if that was true, then I would, you know.
Well, Toni Collette, she plays a really good drama.
You know Peter Stormare. He's in every.
I know. But Toni Collette, she plays a very good dramatic actress.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she was in The Sixth Sense and all that back in the day. You know, and she just plays a very good dramatic actress.
But like I said, I definitely, when it comes to video, we'll pick this one.
And this has children in it. You know,
and children are just creepy as all.
They are the most creepy. I mean, the Children of the Corn back in the day when I was a kid, I still hate watching those films.
Village of the Damned.
Today, because children are just...
Come play with me.
And some of the main characters, as far as my understanding is, are children in this film, so...
Yeah, come play with me.
That right there just...
Yeah, just children in general. You know what they say, it's lovely when you hear the pitter-patter of children's feet until it's late at night and you realize you don't have any children.
Yeah.
All right. The next one is The First Purge.
The First Purge. This one is out July 4th.
It's already out, yeah.
So it is already out. And it is rated R. It's an action horror sci-fi. I'm not really getting the sci-fi with it, but maybe I'm just... Maybe there's some sci-fi-ish things
I don't even think we need
getting there.
I mean, the Purge is a set series. Everybody knows what it is. I just want to give my reaction and just go. We don't need to really explain it. It's just the beginning of this whole Purge. I liked the first movie.
They did a slight twist on this one. And I'm not really going to mention that because I think it will ruin the whole...
It's already going to ruin it.
...aspect. So I'm not even going to talk about that. But in this film, they did do a slight twist from the others, but they do still keep with the whole basic storyline of the Purge. You know, you're allowed to kill.
Yeah, you're allowed to have these weapons. You're not allowed to kill these people.
Killing is legal during this time period.
And then we find out that weird shadowy crap happens during the Purge and blah blah blah. All right, I like the first one because it was it was very suspenseful and it took place in basically one location, and I liked that. And then the second one happened, and then the other ones, and I've lost a lot of interest in them. To be honest, they're not really horror. They're just more suspense than anything, but because of the political climate we have right now,
and that's where they went with this one. They gave it this
yeah.
political twist. So I'm not really sure if I care for that, but I mean, that's how the world is. I guess they take advantage of what's going on at the time. But
Unfriended Dark Web.
The next is Unfriended Dark Web. It's rated R and it is listed as a horror film. The synopsis is a teen comes into possession of a new laptop and soon discovers that the previous owner is not only watching him, but will also do anything to get it back.
So I considered this one another one of those the internet will kill you things. It's a fear.com.
Right.
.com.
But I think they put a different little spin on this one because it's all dark web related and
yeah, but again, my issue is going to be how do they betray? Is it going to be like how really the dark web is? You know, you have to have a Tor browser and blah 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 blah. You know, I'm not saying there's shady crap on this.
My only problem is, would someone really do this? Would they really go to Lost and Found and take a random computer and
not set it back to factory settings?
And view these films of people being tortured and then log on to the web and view these videos with their friends? I mean, maybe, I don't know, but maybe I'm just thinking about it too literally. I'm good at doing that.
Well, no, because I think because the internet is such a big part of our lives these days, and, you know, the dark web is one of those, I think, the last mythos of the internet era that... there's so much misinformation going on about the dark web, and this is just to sensationalize on it. But again, it's I think the issue with this one, it's too far removed from when the hype of the dark web, you know, like all the bad crap of the dark web was happening. I mean, if they released it like 2 years ago, it would have been a different story.
Yeah, maybe that's a problem. The next film is one that we're really interested in seeing.
With a bullet
I hate
in my head.
the name. I loathe the name. The name is The Meg.
So this is about Meg from Family Guy that's learned how to swim, and she's massive, and she attacks underwater cities.
The name, I get what they're getting with the name because it's about the Megalodon, which isn't really, I really don't know if it is an actual shark, but...
I think it is, but again...
Anyway, when I hear the name, I really just automatically visualize Meg from Family Guy, morbidly obese, over 600 pounds, and bedbound and unable to move, and having to be cared for 24/7 because she just can't move. And I'm really not honestly trying to make any kind of joke about that because it's not a joke to me, but I just don't care for the name. The name is awful.
And this goes into my my shark folder, which is simply this: please stop.
But you forced me to watch all Sharknadoes.
Okay, I like Sharknadoes, but I mean, because the first ones were funny. And I told you that. The first two were good, and then, like, the other ones were just like, okay, would you just stop? You know, it was just, they've become ridiculous.
Yeah, the first two you watched just to go, wow.
Yeah.
Somebody actually thought that was a good idea.
And they sort of made fun of themselves.
Yeah. And then they keep going, and you're like, why? Did these people just have money? Whoever invested in these movies, were they just wiping their behinds with this money? If they have so much... They just need to send it to us. We'll spend it. They just have money they're blowing away.
Like, Jaws, okay, for the time the era was and all that and how iconic it is, that's fine. You're never going to catch lightning twice in a bottle. You're never going to have another Jaws.
Right.
And all these shark movies are just trying to be another Jaws.
Right, yeah.
And, I mean, to me, this is just a theatrical release of a sci-fi film. Because how many times have we seen, you know, Megalodon versus Sharktopus or anything else? It just has a higher budget. It's the same concept.
Yep. Well,
oh yeah, it has Jason whatever his name,
Right.
That action star. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a PG-13 film, so it's cool for the kids. It's action, horror, sci-fi, and the synopsis is, after escaping an attack by what he claims was a 70-foot shark, Jonas Taylor must confront his fears to save those trapped in a sunken submersible.
Okay, again,
Okay?
really just... Again, I'm not seeing the horror in this.
Yeah. The reason why this film was all played up is because of the actors and actresses that it has in it. Because it has, Ruby Rose and Jason Statham and all these people in it.
All the pretty people. Yeah, it's just... All right, let's move on before I blow my top on
It even
this.
has Masioka in it, and, he was on Heroes, and...
Okay, that's great. I really don't care.
Well, this film was made in China, so, that's why it's got all these people in it. Anyway.
Let's move on to Summer of 80.
We'll probably have to watch it just for the, lulz.
Whatever. Yeah. I did it for the lulz.
Puppet Master, The Littlest Rain.
Reich, I think. Or Reach. Reich.
Reich. The Littlest Reich. I apologize. And basically this is a continuance. I'm not really sure how many of these films they're going to make. This one comes out August 17th. And basically it's just a lot of the same traditional Puppet Master. But who doesn't enjoy seeing those little guys? Who doesn't enjoy seeing little dolls kill people?
So my question is this supposed to be a theatrical release or straight to DVD stream?
Oh, I don't know.
Because it's done by Full Moon, so I'm assuming it's going onto their streaming website.
It's not rated, and let's see. Release date April 20th. It says UK, USA. Theatrical screening locations 4 days ago.
So is it going to be like minimal screening type thing?
I don't know.
So I'm assuming it's pretty much going to be a straight to stream release. It looks interesting. Is it good?
It doesn't say. But the synopsis is, all hell breaks loose when a strange force animates the puppets up for auction at a convention, setting them on a bloody killing spree that's motivated by an evil as old as time.
Again, they're just bringing back the Puppet Master. At least it's not a reboot. They're just continuing the storyline.
Right.
So we'll probably watch it because it's part of the series.
Yep. It doesn't really say, unfortunately, how you're going to be able to watch it. So we'll have to get back to you guys on that one, because we're definitely probably going to watch that one. The next one comes out August 24th. It is Slender Man.
Man?
Slender Man.
Not plural, just a singular.
I said man.
They said men.
Man. No, man.
Okay.
And I think this one is just as equally kind of unknown.
I think it's having a theatrical release.
It doesn't really
They're
specify.
really pushing it for... They've been... In the trailers, they've been pushing... And they just released another trailer for it. They just put... I think they're trying to push for theatrical at the end of August.
Okay. And the synopsis for it is, Slender Man tells the story of a tall, thin, horrifying figure with unnaturally long arms and featureless face who is reputed to be responsible for the haunting and disappearance of countless children and teens.
Okay, so this movie I'm sort of interested in, and just because I liked the lore of it when it first came out, I'm sort of interested in how they're going to do it. Either it's going to be great or it's going to be crap. And I'm sort of leaning on the side of crap. But...
Well, it's interesting to know, this concept that multiple different people came up with and developed, how someone else is going to
market it,
bring it to life.
Yeah.
Because you have all these different people that have put their input on the concept of this.
Well, it was like,
creature.
who does the rights go to? Does it go to the rights to the guy who did the photos that released it on the Something Awful forums? Does it go to everybody who's ever contributed to the lore through the storytellings? And that's hundreds, if not thousands, of people who've done that. Including editing and stuff like that. And all the little internet stories of the... And then there was some pushback on this because of what happened with those teen girls thing. People are saying don't release this because it might incite violence or whatever because of what happened.
They would encourage more
of that I don't remember that murder that happened. But I mean, the thing is, it's just a movie. It's up, they're just stories. It was those people that went off the rails that did that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
unfortunately, bad people are going to be bad no matter what.
Yeah.
Anyone else does. Bad people are going to be bad.
No, I'm not. I'm not really planning on seeing. How's this? I'll see if anything. We'll see it on the matinee. But I mean, I'm not expecting a lot out of this. I'm not, and it should have been released 2 years ago, along with Unfriended Dark Web, when the hype was up.
Right.
This is just... It's like if they would release...
now it's an afterthought. So.
Now, it's like it's the same if they would release 2 years from now a Freddy Fazbear movie. The hype is done. It's over. All right, let's move on to the next one.
And the next is a film that I'm surprised I actually am somewhat interested in because I'm not a huge Nicolas Cage fan.
But I am. I love Nicolas Cage. I really do. I love how crazy that guy is. I think he should be in every movie along with Peter Stormare.
Who are you? Are you an alien?
Nano.
Your bunny man skin is what you are.
Why are you wearing that human skin?
This movie is Mandy. And it is, let's see, did it say when it's coming out?
I think it's just to be announced or to be delivered.
Yeah, it's to be determined.
Yeah.
I think the issue is Nicolas Cage has committed himself to a very full schedule this year, and it's caused some hiccups along the way, so... It's not rated. It is listed as an action horror thriller, but the storyline for this film is quite amusing. Mandy is set in the primal wilderness of 1983, where Red Miller, a broken and haunted man, hunts an unhinged religious sect who slaughtered the love of his life.
Again, it looks like Nicolas Cage at his finest. Crazy mofo. I mean, the visuals look interesting. I'll see it. I mean...
So in the film, Nicolas Cage, he falls in love with this chick named Mandy, and they have this very puritanical type relationship. And this warlock type guy, witchy man, who has a cult, envies what he has, and he kidnaps Mandy, and Cage goes off the deep end and forges a weapon and everything.
So what you're telling me is that Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage.
Yep.
In this movie.
Yep.
It should just be called Nicolas Cage, uncut and raw.
Yep. This says in theaters September 14th. So...
we actually might go see this.
If all else fails, it will be in theaters September 14th.
Alright, so... any other movies that are coming out? What was the Summer of '84? Was I going nuts on that one?
No. Okay, Summer of '84. I don't know why I don't have that one written down. After suspecting that their police officer neighbor is a serial killer, a group of teenage friends spend their summer spying on him and gathering evidence. But as they get closer to discover the truth, things get dangerous.
I'm actually sort of interested in this. It's another like, it's sort of like Stranger Things type thing. That feel of like historical piece type.
Right. It's a drama horror mystery. And it does very much have the feel like you're back in the 80s. And I really do enjoy that. I myself am from the 80s. And, you know, that whole nostalgia when I was a kid kind of a situation. And these kids really do think that this police officer is a serial killer. And they start trying to investigate and piece things together. And just the whole... So, childhood innocence thing I find very interesting.
So, yeah, I definitely will like to see this movie. So that's the end of the sort of like summer movies. It's sort of like the end of summer movies.
At least the ones that we found interesting that were horror related. We may have missed some, but those are the ones that we thought were interesting.
We sort of touched upon it, and I just sort of want to get off my chest because it's really starting to bother me. And then we'll go back to what we were planning on talking about. So using horror as just a sort of a catch-all, a lot of movies are doing this lately. It's like drama/horror, but it's not horror at all.
Yeah.
Because horror is so vague in what it's supposed to be, because there's so much different types of horror involved. There's suspense horror, there's gore horror, there's like slashers and stuff like that. It's so, expansive that it seems like anything with a suspense feeling to it is now considered horror. Which it's not, because a lot of people who don't like horror, like my mother who hates horror, will refuse to watch a movie because it has a horror tag on it and it has nothing to do with horror.
Exactly. If it scares you, she doesn't want to watch it.
But, I mean, like, the movie that I wanted her to watch, because I think she really would have enjoyed, really didn't have many scary parts, except for maybe a jump scare here or there. But she refused to absolutely watch it because she's going by what it says on the genre. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like that's being very there's only a select group of people that enjoy horror. True. And it also cheapens the horror genre itself by using it as a catch-all. Because especially when like you and me are looking for horror and we're sitting there watching it, we're like, this is not horror.
Right.
Where we're wanting to be scared or whatever, and it's not, and we're not.
Right. I mean, just like if you watch a sci-fi film, you expect to see aliens or
some sort of
advanced technology or something with outer space, or you expect to see something that would relate it to sci-fi. When it's horror, you expect to see something to relate it to horror.
Not just a little bit of suspense or a jump out scare. Like a jump scare. We apologize for that. We were in the middle of an apartment war with noise.
Unfortunately, communal living is funny like that.
Alright, so yeah, I'm just getting really tired of horror being a catch-all, that's all.
Yeah.
So, I sort of wanted to let's do some, I guess, summer terror talk, I guess. So, I've noticed from like the 80s, even like mid-70s up till, what would you say, mid-90s, a lot of summer horror would be revolving around summer camp. Mm-hmm. It always takes sort of place in like some sort of, Friday the 13th and stuff like that. It was always some sort of summer camp and summer counselors or campers, or I mean, there's several Goosebumps that were, based at summer camp. And then you have like Camp Blood and all that other.
Yeah.
And then as we progressed, we got away from that to more lonely, staying at home, talking on the internet with our friends for hours on end. Mm-hmm. So it seems like we've lost that, I guess, shared experience of bonding.
And now we're doing it all internet type movies.
Yeah, and I don't know how I sort of miss the old summer camp, type thing. I don't know why.
Has anybody done horror movies that are like people are going to a movie theater and they get whacked at the movie theater?
No, but there's probably a reason for that because we've had a slew of bad things that happened in theaters in the past few years. I think there was a few, like Popcorn did it. There's a few Matinee sort of did that. Not real, like really loosely Matinee did that, but like Popcorn and stuff like that, they did that. There's a few movies from like B-rated movies that have done theater based, and like in the '60s, a lot of summer horror movies would revolve around like the drive-in theater or Feely McFeely Point.
Make-out point type.
Yeah. And like I said, I just feel like, but those were usually sociable things in a way. The suspense of that, compared to I don't feel as much suspense with the internet type. Because I can understand a killer killing a lot of people in a camping setting or like that, but an internet killer, you're still having to go a lot of distances, if not countries. And sort of loses his believability that this person is moving from these points.
Right. Well, how easy is it to find someone through a computer?
Well, with geo, I mean, are you talking about sort of like if you don't turn on a VPN, or are you talking about when you have a VPN on? Without a VPN, you have a lot of geolocations. Every place anymore is like asking, and especially after this whole stupid thing with the current politicals up crap, with the everyone wants to know your location now,
right.
So to make sure you're not a Russian or whatever. So I think there's that. So now we know basically whenever you post to Twitter, they basically know where you're from, and you also put that on your profile and stuff like that. And then you could pretty much, and if you are tech savvy, you can track somebody down to like the house that they live in. But with a VPN, if you bounce your signal off of multiple locations, you can't be found. So it all really just depends on a series of different little things. But I don't know. It's just, I think it's just sort of I think more of it's just depressing. Like, that type of horror is now depressing. It's like, wow, I'm not being sociable. I'm staying in my room, in my house, in my own sort of safe universe, talking to only these people and never going outside of that safe zone. And then this person comes and kills. I think we just grew up I think we were sort of like the last generation to go to summer camps. I have very fond memories and very bad memories of summer camp because I've gone to several. I know you didn't.
I went to one.
You went to one. But you still had that experience, but because of...
It wasn't for the entire summer. It was for like a week or two.
Well...
And we had to cut it short because Sis got sick. It was the whole hot dog situation, so...
But what I'm saying, mine wasn't a summer camp. Most summer camps weren't an entire summer. It was like a week or two. Like I went to like church camp, so that was like a week. I went to Boy Scout camp, and that was a week. It was. I don't think there's any camp that was. Maybe a select handful. That's a lot of money for that operation to have a full summer.
I think most of them were like a couple weeks.
Yeah. So, but again, everybody sort of in that generational age grew up with that, so it was sort of relatable. That's why it was always like random generic camp. Either it would be Camp Crystal Lake, well, it just had the cabins, and then some had tents. Everybody. Right. And I just sort of miss that sociable, I guess, horror concepts, and it seems like a lot of horror is going very much more individual or a big sociable thing anymore. Or shared experience, I guess. And that's why I would consider summer horror, summer camp is a shared experience.
Yeah.
All right, so we had a list of things we could talk about. So, all right. We recently watched a movie that it was a slow build up. So jump scares versus slow build up. What's your opinion on that? What do you prefer? Or it could be a combination of both. It doesn't have to be.
I really don't like jump scares. But I'm not one of those people that scares easily, but I don't like
Well, I'm saying
jump
as
scares.
I'm saying like jump scares as like the main gag of the film. Like they heavily rely on sort of like Paranormal Activity heavily relies on jump scares.
Yeah, I don't like jump scares.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Paranormal Activity, and especially the fake jump scares. Like it's like, oh, it's a dog, or it's the sister grabbing a sandwich out, having a midnight snack.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I have a problem with slow build up too, because you're relying heavily on that movie for the big reveal, the big haha moment to be haha moment. You know, you're hoping nobody catches on to that.
And the ones that have the slow build too, if people don't realize the little key moments that are going up to it, then that aha moment isn't as powerful.
Yeah.
And just like all this, the Saw trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
I watched all of them in the theaters. And before I would watch them, I would go back and watch all of the movies sequentially. And there were several times when I would go back and watch them, and I would pick up on little things in each movie. I would do that because I would want to try to figure out, one, what characters would be in the next film, because there was always key people that they brought back.
Yeah.
Two, I wanted to try to figure out if I could try to predict, in a way, what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Because it was only until the last two films or so that they really kind of started over
yeah.
and made it anew. There, for the first 4 or 5 films, they just kind of kept building onto the whole storyline, so they were continuing with it,
But I'm not even talking like a trilogy. I'm talking about like a singular movie. Let's take, we watched The Cure for Wellness the other night. That's the movie that we watched, and that was supposed to be a suspenseful horror film, big reveal at the end type thing, and it really sort of like fell flat for me. Because not just because of not the little things that picked up, you sort of knew something weird was going on, but even the big haha moment was like, that's the direction that you went with this.
Yeah.
Like Saw, I'm not a huge fan of it. I've gotten better as it's progressed further onto it. Maybe some of that's rubbed off from you. But, I mean, originally I thought it was just, gore porn horror, like woo type thing. But there's a lot more to it. But I just don't feel like any horror that relies solely on jump scares or slow build up. I don't think it either pays off at the end.
It's not enough.
I feel like you could do it both and do it well. And I think a lot of my problems with a lot of horror movies these days is that they don't have a lot of good storylines. They're trying to scare people, but they're not trying to. It's not. I guess I like more of the psychological horror, but even that's just not even. Maybe I'm just jaded.
I don't know.
Maybe I've just watched so much horror in my life that I'm just sort of like, eh.
Is that it?
But I feel like horror recently has just gotten sort of okay. I like one of my favorite movies though I really enjoyed was The Boy, and I consider that really not even horror. So it's more on the horror light suspense film, if I had to, but I feel like it's disingenuous to have the horror tag on it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's such a good it's a good movie that that people haven't given a chance. Okay, so how do you feel about meta horror?
What do you consider to be meta horror?
Anything that's sort of like open ended.
I hate that. I don't like any movie that's open ended.
And you're supposed to come up with your own conclusion. It's like, oh, you know, this guy. We're not going to say this guy was a bad guy, but you could come up to the opinion that this guy.
What I don't like about open ended films is you're always going to find where the writer or the producer of the film has posted something online, and they've said, well, this is what I intended the interpretation to be, but they've left it open because they want you to determine what you think the ending should be, or they plan on doing a second one, so they've left it open to where they can continue on. So if they want you to make your own interpretation, or you to kind of assume what could have happened, because there could be multiple possibilities, but then they're gonna say, well, this is my interpretation. No, if this is your interpretation, then make it that.
Yeah, I mean, the only good, I guess, movie, it was actually a TV series, that was meta that I really enjoyed was Twin Peaks. Like, that's the only good sort of like meta horror type.
I thought you were gonna say Tommy Wiseau's.
No, that's not meta.
I don't know, I didn't watch it. You couldn't make me.
No, it's just meta is, you know, just like I said, it's an open-ended who do you think you did it type thing, and then you get these huge communities built up around it who speculate, oh, it's this person, and then it usually turns into an argument of I'm right versus this other person's right, and you have no real basis to it. Mm-hmm. It's just your interpretation of the fact of what it happened, and then the director comes out and just ruins it all. That's what I really hate about meta. You know, it's because it's like, oh, you're all wrong. You know, and you're all too stupid to realize what... You know, right. I always feel like it's an excuse that I have a high IQ and you don't type thing. And that, to me, is, like, pretentious. Mm-hmm. And I don't want everything spelled out for me, but I don't want everything to be so... I just want to have a good time. I don't want to have to look at every little detail and look at every little word to make sure I don't pick up on a double negative somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't... That sort of takes the fun out of horror. I mean, I used to hate slasher films. I used to not like them. I thought it was just sort of some weird propaganda from, like, the Catholic Church.
What?
I felt like it was weird propaganda for the Catholic Church.
The slasher films were propaganda from the Catholic Church.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand why you thought that.
Simple. You couldn't have sex, premarital sex. You couldn't do drugs.
Okay.
You know, so it was like, don't do these things, be good, and then, you know, like, live a healthy, clean life, and then you won't get killed by this guy in a hockey mask. So.
He doesn't have a hockey mask, and he's carrying around a Bible.
But, I mean, you could say that, I mean, I did it more of as a, I used to say that more as a joke than anything else, because I had people say, you know, I've heard the arguments from, like, some people that it was a biblical, you know, you could look at Jason as a biblical sense, you know, of sin catching up to you type thing. I've heard those arguments.
Okay.
So that's what I always say is like propaganda from the Catholic Church. But the more I get older, the more I actually enjoy those type of movies because they're just simple. They're just there to enjoy. And a lot of horror now has just become, I have a high IQ, you know. Does that make... Like, I really can't get into them. I'm tired of the big reveals a lot of times. Like, okay, that was your big reveal. It fell flat, by the, you know. Or I'm getting tired of the jump scares. It's because it just seems so formulaic anymore. Mm-hmm. It's those two things in the world. of horror.
Yeah, I don't care for jump scares myself.
I know. So
My dog jump scares me enough. I don't need movies to do it.
well, even the movie jump scares are stupid.
I don't like them.
So you had a series of things you wanted to talk about.
Not all in one.
No.
These were things I was going to research and do, not...
Okay, is there anything else you want to talk about? You don't know? How hot it is? Man, the weather. So I guess what are you hoping for, are you hoping for a good sort of like set of Halloween movies this year?
I'm always hoping for that.
So did you hear that they're doing a Child's Play reboot?
Really?
Yeah. As a TV series.
As a TV series?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I'm really getting tired of like horror. They're doing another Halloween reboot. Also, and everything I've seen for it, people are posting, "Oh, this Jason looks scary," or "This Michael looks scary." Sorry. This Michael looks scary. And I'm like, it looks like a guy in a William Shatner mask that's painted white. He has a little dirt on him.
Big guy with a mask.
Yeah.
Just like all the others.
Yeah.
Big guy with a mask.
And, you know...
When he walks through the woods, you're going to hear...
Don't look.
That's funny.
But, anyway, so, yeah, that's come up in some of my news feeds, and I'm like, I'm tired of reboots. I'm tired of going back to the 80s. I want something original.
Why do they gotta mess with things? Why? I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, they just came out with a new Child's Play movie. Didn't they? Like, Cult of Chucky or something like that?
Curse of Chucky.
I thought it was Cult. You don't have to look it up.
I gotta know now. Cult of Chucky.
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah. So they just came out with a new movie, Child's Play movie.
Curse of Chucky was 2013.
Yeah. And now...
Oh, Revenge of Chucky, 2018.
But I think they're continuing the movie series. But they're going to reboot it as a TV series.
Step by an unknown source. All seems okay. But the next day, his babysitter, Aunt Maggie, gets in a serious accident while Andy is home without her.
That's not really a synopsis. I don't even know if it's real.
October 28th, 2018 is the release date. The budget was $10,000. That's so much money.
I don't know. I'm tired of the reboots. Because people are going to get sick and tired of these too.
I don't understand. This seems like the first movie made over again.
I said it's a reboot. They're trying to reboot the entire series.
So they're just making the movies over again?
Yeah. They're making Child's Play over again, either as a TV series or another set of movies, because they can't come up with anything original. They have to go back to something that you know, through almost 30 years of movies or whatever, and then...
Well, we know, but the current generation doesn't.
But no, I mean, they even have a following. I mean, but they're
Are they doing this so people our age would take our kids to see it? Is it a novelty thing?
I think it is. I think they're just trying to cash in on the novelty of like, oh, look, they're trying to make it for the next generation. But I'm like, I don't care about new updated Chucky. I want old Chucky. I want the old 80s Chucky.
I mean, are they doing this to cash in on that novelty factor so they can make new dolls and the new, like, the technology of today in the movie? Evidently not. It's only a $10,000 movie. I mean...
No, I think it's just trying to capture the thing is I was reading a report and they're saying that the attendance to theaters is dropping off dramatically, enough where they're having to close theaters. Again, we've overpopulated our cities with theaters. I mean, you go to any city anymore and it's like 7 or 8 of them. You know, you think, I think at this time we have 3. So, I mean,
Yeah.
and then you go a little bit up the road to the city that we live near, and that's another 10. So, but you don't come with anything interesting. So you expect everybody just to, and I mean, it's a big expenditure to go to a theater. You're looking at $50, if not near $100 if you take a family. And that's including getting the soda and the overpriced stale popcorn, and the tickets are cheap. It's just everything else that goes with it. But you're always going to want to get the everything else. And so they're realizing that nobody's going to theaters anymore, so they're having to close them down, or they're cutting people's hours, or whatever. And it's just, they don't like that because they're not making the box offices. Because they, basically, how Hollywood makes its money return is not by video, or stream, or whatever, and I sound old when I say video, it's literally that first week will make or break a movie, basically, on... You know, if you don't see that first movie within that first week and they get all their money back or whatever, they're not going to release anymore. So good movies that they've come out with that, you know, but sort of, fell through, that's why they haven't come out with sequels to. Because they never got that box office here in the United States. They don't care about the world. Like World of Warcraft, the movie, failed miserably here, but did great in Asia, in the Asian market. There's a lot of movies that do really good in the Asian market, but fail here, so they don't ever release them again. They don't continue, you know. So, yeah, but I think that's why they're going to, especially with old horror, like with horror, is just, you know, everybody knows those sites. They know Chucky, they know Michael Myers, they have a following. Even with the new kids, you know, they have that following. Because there is just so prevalent within the horror community, but those are surpassing actually good horror, in my opinion. You know, kids are not being exposed who are brand new to horror to other good horror movies. They're just, you know, they're like, oh, you have the basics, but delve deeper into horror. Because there's so much, you know, like they might enjoy the Hammer films, or whatever. They don't, you know, it's just, I don't know, it irritates me. That's all.
Yeah.
And then, you know, usually with Halloween, no movie does well, no horror movie does well in the summer. And all the horror movies that we see flock at the beginning of October.
Right. Because
they're trying to cash in onto the big Halloween thing. But everybody's trying to cash in on the big Halloween thing. Haunted houses and horror movies, and you only have so much money. Anything else?
I don't know, that really irritates me. Really, really irks me.
Yeah.
That they are doing that, but like we said, they're just cashing in on the fact that they think...
It has brand recognition. That's really what it is.
They think people our age are going to take their children in to see it because of the novelty.
No, I don't even think it's children or us taking our children in. I think it's just even the younger generation who are just getting into horror, who are able to go into R-rated films. They know that brand because that's what it is. They're selling a brand. They're not selling a good movie. They're selling a brand. Because let's be honest, Child's Play, I never really took it seriously. Because it's a doll with a knife. Or other, there's so many questions I have about, does Chucky hold the knife because of his fingers? They're not just so many questions. Why does nobody, Dee Snider does make a joke in it though, you know, like, why does nobody kick this doll? And he kicks the doll, you know, like, why are we terrified of a doll that doesn't even go to your knees? It's just...
Right. Right.
But I mean, that's why we keep seeing, these reboots. And then, of course, it always splits sort of like the horror community. I enjoy Rob Zombie's Halloween. I like the original one too. Why do I have to choose between them? It's like this whole like It thing. I like both because both bring something different to, the table. Both Pennywises are different, and they both bring something interesting to the table, and it continues the storyline. The TV series worked for when it was, but the movie now is 2 movies, or both 2 hours, is 4 hours. And they're going to expand that universe more. And now we have the technology to do certain things that we were not able to do back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the 90s. But nobody wants to take, I guess, nobody in Hollywood or filmmakers want to take a chance because they're afraid of failure so much. That they're afraid they're not going to get their thousands of dollars back. Right. Where the 80s, was the height for just throwing stuff at the wall.
Well, it's not just a commitment of money, it's a commitment of time, too.
Yeah. But, I mean, there was so much horror in the 80s and early 90s because people were willing to take chances. Now everything has to have, we have to have a guaranteed gain. If we lose any sort of money, then it's no good.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, that's streaming services are starting to open up. That you have Netflix that are open up to ideas. So we're continuing continuations of franchises through Netflix and stuff. So, but Netflix horror is just not there for me either.
No, it's not that great.
So, okay, that leads up to, what do you think? I think this is the last topic. Especially since, it's almost August, and that means fall is about to come sometime, hopefully soon. And then that means winter. And so I already sort of know my own answer. What do you think is the best apps for horror? Not that are not solely based on horror. The best streaming services, I should say.
I don't know. I'm sure there's other ones out there that we haven't used.
But I'm saying out of the major ones, you have Netflix, Amazon Prime, and we always, shill for Tubby TV. That's a free one.
Right.
Crackle is another free one. So, out of the ones that we know, I go with Amazon Prime. Because not only are you...
well, we have Screenbox, and what's the other one that we started using?
Shudder.
Screenbox has a pretty good selection.
Mm-hmm. But I'm saying, just solely, Amazon Prime one, not only do you get the free shipping that Amazon Prime has, but you also get, like, a huge movie selection of horror movies.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just general other movies, too, not just...
Mm-hmm. And Tubby TV has had quite a lot too.
And then there's one other, I forgot the name of it. It's a TV style one that I have that has like its own dedicated MSTK 3000 channel on it.
I don't know.
So that's a free one. I forgot the name of it. It has like an astronaut on it. Pluto TV, that's it.
It's free.
It's free. And if you really like MSTK 3000 or RiffTrax, they have both of their own dedicated channels to it. So, but you like Amazon Prime. That's where we mostly get all of our horror films at.
That and Tubby. We watch a lot of Tubby.
Yep.
Tubby's got a lot of our stuff on it. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Is there any recommended films you could think of?
For what?
Just our viewership, listenership. That we won't review.
We won't review.
Yeah.
There are some that we have on our extras list.
No, I'm not even talking about bad horror. I'm just talking about any that you've watched or anything.
There are some that I thought would be really cool.
Well, I mean, you've been watching a lot of movies. That's why like any ones that you've watched or anything that you would recommend, or TV shows that you would recommend. Just as a...
When I watch TV shows, I don't necessarily watch horror ones.
No, I'm just saying, is there anything... I recommend The Boy. I think that's a really good one hasn't been really... And that's on Netflix and on Prime. And it's, it's very underrated for a movie.
You think so?
I think it does. I think it flew underneath the radar.
Yeah, we've not watched any of these. I don't know, a film that we've... what's that one that we decided not to do with the tire? What's Rubber?
Rubber, yeah.
Rubber's a good one. And it's on YouTube, isn't it?
I think it's on Prime. I think you can find it anywhere right now. Oh, Delicatessen is a really good one, too. It's a French film, so there's a lot of... it's subtitled, but it's a really strange, surrealistic French film. And it's horror-based, and it's really good. And I think that's on Prime.
Rubber... You can watch it on Prime for 99 cents. I'm pretty sure you can find it.
Elsewhere, yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting film. It's interesting.
Rebecca was one that we watched that I thought was really interesting.
Should probably put out a list of films
that we recommend.
That we may not necessarily do, but would be good to watch.
Or do a terror talk about movies that we watched that.
So.
Because I think, people listen to us in the car and stuff like that, or at work. That way we could do another terror talk, just sort of go more in depth to why we recommend these. Not really give a synopsis, just go why do we recommend them. And that'd be... So, oh yeah, another one I watched that was really weird that I like because it's out there, but I'm a big Alistair Crowley fan. And it's it has two names to it. And if you can find it, it's sort of hard to find, but it's interesting at least, and it's pretty accurate to Alistair Crowley's personality. The movie's either called Crowley or The Chemical Wedding.
The Chemical Wedding?
It's a Rosicrucian / Slema right. The Chemical Wedding is.
Okay.
So, I think that's it, though. I haven't watched a lot of movies because I've been pretty busy. As you pick at my face. Right, so that's the end of this terror talk.
Yep, I need to work on my stories. That way we can let you guys read more of our interesting stories. I haven't really worked on any lately.
I started working on one. It's just I've been at work and then go to the gym and then come home. Sort of like slack out. But yeah. I need to get the groove on with that. So we're done with July finally.
Yes.
We're moving on to
we
August.
Can move on and move on.
And we're hoping to get caught up on that.
Yep.
So
hopefully.
Try to stay ahead. So we'll catch you guys later.
Scare you later.
Bye.